Hello, beautiful people. Last year I got a key for the game Demon School from Necrosoft Games. It's one of those games I was really excited to play, and once I got my hands on it, I was having a good time. But the deeper I delved, and the more time I spent with it, the more I kind of realized, I don't like this. This is not that good. It feels, if I may use the word, overrated. The combat got dull really quickly. The story was just a mess of spinning its wheels, going nowhere really quickly, and overall, I felt the whole experience was just a slog. Not to mention the tactics RPG combat the game was touting was more a puzzle game, as you were trying to get rid of as many enemies in as little moves as possible, and it just felt very underwhelming and not satisfying at all in the long term. Now, what does that have to do with Everyday We Fight? Simple. Both games were on my list of most anticipated games of 2025. And like Demon School, Everyday We Fight disappointed me in many ways. So, let's talk about it. Everyday We Fight is a tactics RPG from Signal Space Lab that touts a real-time combat system with some turn-based tactics combat. This game really intrigued me the first time I saw the trailers and I heard about it. The real-time reaction-based combat reminded me of something like Valkyrie Chronicles mixed with, if anybody remembers, Mutant Year Zero with the moving around in the environments. And overall, this game just had an interesting concept as well, with aliens have invaded and they've placed our main characters in sort of a negative time space where everyone else is frozen in place, but we can move around freely. And also, every time we die or defeat a certain enemy, we loop back to a previous time in the day. All great ideas. All things I'm really excited to have jumped straight into. And I gotta say, firstly, combat. A lot of fun. I really enjoyed the combat. The tactics are on point. Now, it's not as, how do I put it, as snappy and quick as something like XCOM 1 or 2, but because it requires more slow aiming as you try to take aim from whatever cover you've chosen, or even your Overwatch reaction time requires you, as an enemy's running straight at you, to just aim for that head, because you want to do maximum damage. So that feels a little bit slower, but I really like it. I really like that interactivity. It's not just plop your units down, put on Overwatch, wait, and they'll do the work. And also, there's no percentages. While you're aiming, the game will tell you, like, hey, if you hit this spot, this is how much damage you do. But it's based on exactly where is the reticle, which is important sometimes. Usually when you take a first shot at the enemy, they are allowed a reaction time where they can run away, which makes shooting them further more difficult. These are all great elements of the game that I had a lot of fun with, but though the combat is a lot of fun, and I like the ideas they put together, and I think the guns also, they sound great, they feel good to use. Although a sniper rifle with one shot that has a very expensive reload, let me shoot my sniper rifle at least twice. I do not like the controls of this game. I do not like how it feels to move your units around sometimes, because I don't know if it has to do with the way the game is running on my system, because it is chugging sometimes. There will be stuttering, there will be some lag, and when I do an input, and I don't know if it's because of that or it's a glitch. But sometimes I'll click on my unit to go to a certain point, and they just won't move. Then I have to click again, but because I was confused, I moved my mouse a little bit, so instead, they moved to a different position than I had planned for them to go to, thereby effectively wasting my turn. And that really frustrated me. And outside of combat, you'll do a lot of exploration. You will go around the city, this big empty ghost town, which at first, I'm like, yes, that sounds like a fun idea. Find some houses, go in, collect scrap, get pieces for your guns to augment them with make them better. Great idea. Only problem, it's very dull. It gets very dull quickly, even though the characters will interrupt sometimes with story elements, or they'll talk about their previous lives or more of the lore of what's happening in this world. Because essentially there was a fight between two nations happening and they were suddenly interrupted by an alien invasion. So those things are kind of cool, but they are few and far between. Mostly, you'll just go into a building, pick up a bunch of scrap, very little, like 20 pieces of scrap, and you need hundreds to make effective builds for gear. You'll blow up a container to open a new space, go through there, look around to shoot another explosive barrel to make another space, or use your dart gun to blow up these weird glowing sacks. They have an exact name, but I completely forgot what that was. In order to make more room. Again, sounds great in principle, but it gets really boring quick. And I just reached the point where I stopped looking for gear pieces because I did not care anymore. Also, the upgrades you get from picking up the mods and augments for your gun, they just feel kind of negligible. Yes, you get 2 extra shots. But in a machine gun, how great is that? Or even in the shotgun, I barely needed to reload. I was able to take out a lot of enemies in a turn without needing to reload that gun. It was only for the sniper rifle I would have liked at least the magazine, but I never found one. Now the other part of this that's really annoying is the camera. They really should have zoomed that camera in a bit more, even though I think it's not allowed because of how the level layout is. But oftentimes, because there are multiple floors, you'll find the camera is stuck on a bottom floor or a top floor. So when you're inside a building, you can't really see where you are. So you have to run out, go back in, hope it's fixed itself. Hasn't. Run out, go back in, hope it's fixed itself. Still hasn't. Third time's the charm. It's fixed itself. You can now see where you are in the building. I hated that. I just hated running around this city. Yes, sometimes you'll come across enemies in certain areas like patrols that go around and you can take them on, get some more scrap, which again you don't really need, pick up some gear you can use like grenades or med kits, which let's talk about that actually. So you have 2 slots on every character. You have 3 characters, 2 slots, and you can hold either a med kit or a grenade. It's either a healing item or it's a damage stealing explosive. Like you have a grenade, you have a bigger grenade, you have a firebomb or a mine. Now, there's no inventory management in this game that is of any worth. If you pick up an item in one of your 2 slots, and you pick up another item, then the slots are full. And maybe you see, oh, actually I want this character to have a grenade instead of 2 medkits. Now, how do you pick up that grenade? Well, you have to drop the item. But you better hope you don't drop it near the grenade, because then you have to switch between which item you pick up. And if you're anything like me, you can be very impatient, and you can find yourself in a loop of dropping an item and then picking up the same item again multiple times, to much annoyance. Desperately, this game needed a menu where I could just move my inventory items around, remove them, drop them on the ground, pick up a different one, or just move them between my characters. Switching your auxiliary items, your inventory items between characters is a nightmare. Because again, have to drop it, switch to a different character, then pick it up. If they have 2 things, you're going to have to drop something from their inventory. I hated it. It felt like I was wasting my time. Now, these are all small UI changes or just interface things that I think the developers can really fix. But I don't know overall how good this game is going to be, because there's just certain things that I really like, but I think the design of making this big open world to explore was not a great idea. I feel like they should scale down. A mission-based structure would have worked a little bit better here. But there are things the exploring a big world does afford you that I really like in the game. For instance, when you find enemies, you usually enter an area that's locked off. You can sneak around, take individual characters, place them on specific positions if you can get around the enemies, get them all set up, and then start firing. Everyone's in the best position to do the most damage. Your sniper's up high. Your close-ranging shotgun guy is in a spot where he's like sandwiched between 2 enemies you can take out instantly. And my grenade guy was just up top ready to lob some grenades. I love that system so much. Except you kind of could have done that in XCOM 2. Because XCOM 2 had the limit where enemies could see you. Yes, it was a bit less forgiving than it's here. There's a lot of room for you to move around and sneak, which I really like. But I do feel like if you were to load into instances or maps, it would have you could still do that sneaking. you could still move around like that and really work it out. Also, I do like the fact that the game has a classless system. Every character can use any weapon they want. I just decided that the female main character is going to be the sniper and that the Australian guy is going to have a big shotgun, because that just makes sense to me from a story perspective. Now, I've talked about the things I really liked about the game. That's about it. I really wanted to like this game more, and I'm a bit disappointed in the overall experience. And I do hope, because it's still in early access, which just does not bode well for my thoughts on early access games in early access that feel unfinished to me. But they are bringing up updates. They've changed quite a lot of things. From reading previous reviews, it used to be a lot worse. There's a few negative reviews where people just gave up on this game for some glitches. Like, there would be a game-breaking bug in the beginning of the game, so you'd have to restart and not be able to skip the intro cutscene. So I hope they sort of pare it down. They make certain things. They improve the UI. Please improve that inventory system, because even though I didn't play this game for that many hours, I played it for enough where it just kind of made me mad. Also, the scrap. I need more scrap, and I need a better use for the scrap than just making a grenade or hoping one day I'll get enough scrap to make a good weapon part. Also, combat needs a bit of a rebalancing, because I don't like the enemy design. They all look too similar to each other. They'll be like, there's the medic. Okay, so he has these weird shoulder pads that go up high over his head. There's the engineer who looks like the assault guy. And that's the fighter, but the fighter looks like the grenadier. They all looked too similar to each other. And they all have these blue-purple outlines, the lights going down their body. They don't stand out the way enemies in XCOM would stand out, or other turn-based strategy games, I think, did it much better. Also, dumb as rocks. Let me give you a small tactic. It's worked for me every time so far, and I feel kind of like I'm taking advantage of someone who doesn't know how to play their own game. Look at where they're spawning. If there's a ladder near where the enemy is spawning, they're going to go up that ladder. They're going to try and get up there to you with the ladder. Wherever you think they're going to come through, based on where you're sitting, that's where they're going to come through. So just put up your Overwatch and you got them. I have decimated so many of them because they just run straight into my Overwatch without thinking. It is very sad. While it might have sounded like I was being very negative on the game, I do hold a lot of hope for this title. There's a solid base here with the combat. I really enjoy the turn-based combat and just the aim and all of that. And I do believe that if the devs bunker down, improve a few things, maybe remove some guff, pare the game down a bit, make it a very tight experience, then we have a winner here. The concept is fantastic, the world is interesting, and I just want to enjoy more of this combat in a way where it doesn't get bogged down by some of the glitches and the unrefined elements of it. But that's my video. I would suggest not getting the game right now. Wait a few months, or maybe wait until it's released in version 1. I'm definitely going to come back to it as soon as it hits version 1. I'm interested to see what they do with the final product. And you know what? I wish them the best of luck. But that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you've played this, or you can recommend any other good turn-based tactics games. I'm kind of in the mood for them now, since I've been left a bit disappointed by the last 2 titles. Until next time, I hope you have a great time gaming. Goodbye.